guys, not all garments are created equal. You guys know that if you've been in a space where you felt t-shirts from good quality to bad quality, you immediately know the bad ones right when you feel them. You can even look at the stitching and say, man, this is going to fall apart after the first wash. So I want to give just a quick summary of what makes a good garment versus an average garment versus a just plain bad garment, right? And first little characteristic about a garment is how it fits. Is it a retail fit? And I have a little like slideshow here, guys, just to add some notes. You guys can feel free to screenshot this, save it, let it bless your life, prayerfully. And so yeah, so a lot of things about garments is that there's a ton of garments out there. We all know the main ones. We all know Gildan. We all know Comfort Colors, LA Apparel, Shockaware. But there's a ton of garments that your screen printing shops may use that honestly, if you ask them, hey, what's outside of this or similar to this, you may find yourself in a really cool solution that, hey, this garment might work for me. So not all blanks are created equal. We have yeah, retail fit versus streetwear fit. So just want to get into that really quickly. Retail fit, guys, the way I like to put it is when you go to Target, when you go to Walmart, you pick up a t-shirt, the way that fits, the way that feels, that's a retail fitted shirt. It's going to be tailored, it's going to have a close fit, it's going to be more true to size, which just putting a note out there, when it's true to size, that's a indicator that it's great for all ages and all body types. Like everybody will love you when you get a true to size garment. And then it's structured for classic wear, right? Like it's the classic t-shirt that you can throw on and it's going to look good with mostly everything, and you don't have to think about it too much of how to build a fit around it, right? So just keeping that in mind when you're selecting a retail fit versus streetwear fit. And I've thrown some retail fit brands on there, guys. These are, you guys have maybe heard of a lot about them already. Feel free to screenshot that. And I'll just throw this out there as well, that every option that's on over the beige colored square there is going to be the more expensive option. So streetwear fit, guys, you guys know that, or if you don't know, Shockaware, LA Apparel, those guys are killing the game right now in streetwear apparel. Made Blanks is a great option. That's a newcomer to the market. They are like really greatly priced, but they also have an amazing fit and feel to them, as well as the bottom three there, Sixler, Elwood, and I even threw an AS Color, which is, you see it is on both sides, guys. That's AS Color right now is doing some cool things where they're dropping retail fitted clothing and they're dropping also streetwear fitted clothing. So streetwear fitted clothing, it's relaxed, it's a loose fit, it's oversized, it has a drop shoulder style, guys. So for you guys that don't know, drop shoulder, typical shirts end here, drop shoulder ends like right around there. So it gives you more of a boxy, oversized silhouette when you put it on. Again, it's not the most favorable towards all body types, but it is favorable towards the fashion conscious person, the one who is up with the trends, who wants to build a fit around a streetwear t-shirt or garment. That's the person, that's the audience for you there. And there's also other categories in the garments that make a big deal. And basically you have garment dyed versus fabric dyed. And I've just put a little bit of a notes there, guys, for you. So fabric dyed, simply said, is when the cotton or the material is dyed before the shirt is made, and then garment dyed is when it's colored after construction or after it's sewn. And so with garment dyed, that's a huge thing right now. There is it gives a unique washed in look. A lot of times with garment dye, they throw in enzymes when they dye the shirt, so it gives it this soft feel to it, which is why it feels like a shirt you've worn for 10 years already. And a lot of the color that comes out is a one-of-a-kind variation, so you get this look that looks very just unique. And we see it all the time here at the shop. You will order some blanks that are small through 2XL, right? And your smalls will actually sometimes be a different color than the mediums by a shade or two. And it just happens that way with garment dye. So if you're not a fan of like a uniform color, garment dye might not be your best option. But if you're like, hey, I love the one of one look, then that would be definitely the best bet for you. And so then lastly, we have lightweight, medium weight, heavyweight. So lightweight's going to be more of a just a light breezy feel. And so it's going to be more of a summer look, more of a just light breezy thing. We have a slide here, guys. Guys, screenshot this. This is going to be super key and super helpful. So GSM right there on the chart, guys, what our European friends use, right? Like overseas, like they use that to basically get how thick a shirt is. And then the ounces is going to be what we use here in America, right? Like we have to make it so difficult and not just use the same thing. But ounces is just basically per ounces per square yard. And then the GSM is the grams per square meter. So it's just a different unit of measurement there. And then you see the characteristics of the lightweight, middleweight, and heavyweight, right? So right there, it's heavyweight is going to be your more expensive option. It's going to be the option that's going to be most durable, and it's going to be the most expensive option, like I've mentioned. And then your lightweight is going to be, if you've ever felt a Bella and canvas shirt, that's your lightweight option. If it's thin, it's breathable, but it's also going to be kind of see-through. So if you have a demographic for ladies, might not be the best option. They might not appreciate that. But middleweight, guys, is what a Comfort Colors t-shirt is. And a Comfort Colors t-shirt is kind of like 6 ounces, and it's going to be this balanced thickness that's going to feel great year-round. It's going to have that soft feel. It's going to be garment dyed, so it's going to have a very like worn-in look. And that's just like a basic understanding of garments, guys. But I want to just wrap it all up by saying that picking the perfect garment. So this is our process that we run through. The clients, the people that we love to work with that come knocking on our door and say, hey, I want to build a project with you. What is the process for building out, picking the perfect garment? This is it right here. Knowing your priority, guys, you have to first consider what's the priority. Are we making profit on this project so that way we can scale up, that way I can do a bigger drop next time? Or are you looking for more reputation, more of an impression that you want to make with the garment? Like, you have to answer that question, and answering that question involves the second point of knowing your community, right? Like, what do they value? Are they valuing comfort? Are they valuing just fashion? And so it doesn't matter how it feels, as long as it's a fashionable fit, then that's going to be where you want to go with that, right? Like, I have a quick story. Like, one time we were printing for this church, it was their 10-year anniversary. They were excited. We were excited to print with them. And the pastor was like very excited, but also on the fence about if he wanted to go Shockaware or Comfort Colors. And I said, you know what, Pastor, I think that Comfort Colors is going to work best because it's going to fit on good on everybody. But but then Shockaware is probably going to be like more for just like your young adults, right? So then it ended up that they went with Shockaware, and everybody did not like the garments. It came across as like too thick, just missed the mark. And so you have to just really shop for who you're reaching out to, who you're connecting with, and then knowing your budget, right? After those 2 questions are answered, you can figure out what your budget is and create some quality goals with that budget, right? So again, what's the revenue or reputation? What does your community value? And then you can figure out your budget from there and see where you want to go. So that's a bit of a rundown on garments, guys. There's a ton more, but I want to open it up for any questions we have in the chat. We can take 1 or 2 questions, and we'll give you guys some insight on that. Do you know if there's a platform anywhere you can see all the blanks to be able to compare? Oh, super great question, Chloe. We just found out about a company, DGIapparel.com. If we could put that in the chat, what it does is that if you have an account with SNS Activewear, Alpha Broder, Shockaware, those guys, you'd have to have a wholesale account first, but you can connect all of that together on this website, and then it'll price match for you, so you're always getting the cheapest price, as well as it will let you know what the stock is. So if it's available in the small through extra large, it'll let you know, and then what the quantity is that it's available in. Also, one step further, it lets you order from there. So let's say that you need to order your smalls from SNS Activewear, and then you need to order the rest of your sizes from Alpha Broder, but you've got the best price available. Well, you can do that directly from their website. So super clutch website. Awesome question. Thanks, Chloe. And I'm super excited, guys, to be announcing our next speaker, John. He's going to be talking about ink types. Love you guys.
This thing on? Oh yeah, there it is. What's up, guys? My name is John. I do all the production and all the printing. I'm the one who's like dealing with the inks and all of that sorts of stuff. But I just want to again welcome you guys. Thank you guys for being here. This is such a great experimental thing for us to do, which we hope to do more in the future. But Yeah, we're just happy for you guys to be here. Don't forget to smash that like button. Turn on. Just kidding. Anyways, yeah, that was for different. That's for a different video. Anyway, so I want to talk to you guys about inks. There's a lot to say about inks, so I'm gonna kind of just kind of go over plastisol, water-based, and discharge. Those are the three main inks, as well as kind of give you guys some information as far as the printing side. But I'm gonna mostly focus more on plastisol because that's gonna be like 99% of the time of all print shops are going to be using plastisol, and we're going to kind of get into that for a little bit. But yeah, so let's go ahead and start. So we got plastisol ink, which again is the most versatile, the overall general ink most print shops are going to use. Then you got water-based, and you have discharge. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of information on water-based and discharge first, since I don't want to focus too much on that because that is only going to apply to you if that's something that you're actually going for. But water-based pretty much speaks for yourselves. It's ink that is made out of water. Its base is water. And so once it's printed and cured on a t-shirt, it's pretty much going to have almost no feel. So more on the darker end. So like blacks, navy blues, even like reds, like those type of darker inks, they're going to have pretty much almost no feel on the t-shirt. But like the lighter inks like creams or whites or off-whites, anything like that, even like yellows, you're definitely going to still feel it, but not as much as you would like plastisol. And pretty much water-based is something that you would want to go for if you're going for that type of feel. Maybe like a retail fit, something you're selling like in a boutique store, like like on in your local shopping center or whatever, what have you. And then discharge, on the other hand, sorry, for water-based as well, let me mention that is not going to be as opaque for the lighter colors. So it's gonna have more of like that vintage, like washed feel already. It's not gonna be opaque or bright. You can, on the whites, there are different type of ink manufacturers that make thicker white or water-based white inks, but for the most part, it's not gonna be as opaque. So just to kind of put that out there. The next thing I want to talk about is discharge ink, and discharge is really cool. You're gonna see it mostly in like all over prints, and the whole thing with the discharge is that once it cures, it has virtually no feel, and so it's gonna look like it was actually part of the garment. And so the cool thing with that is that it's gonna be something for like if you're going for something like more premium or something that's a little bit like higher end, like you're gonna sell this for like 80, 90, $100, then I would definitely encourage you guys go with discharge, because that's gonna be the thing that's going to push you into like that premium like feel. Now I will say with discharge, if when you talk to your local print shop or whoever's doing your printing, just make sure they have the capability of being able to do discharge also with water based. Just because like for us in here in Texas or any state that has a lot of humidity, water based is a big no, because it's gonna dry up in the screen really easily, and it's just gonna be like you're gonna be 2 shirts in, and then it's just gonna be a disaster. And so with discharge, the chemical in there is like it's a very toxic chemical. So if the print shop doesn't have a good what's it called, like filtration air system, then, or like just good airflow, then it's going to be pretty toxic for the employees or the workers, whoever's doing the screen printing. So you definitely don't want to do that. But yeah, so that's a little bit on water-based and discharge. But now to get into the nitty-gritty, it was just plastisol ink. So pretty much like I said, pretty much like 99% of screen printing shops are going to be going through plastisol ink, and that's just because it's so versatile. With plastisol ink, you can pretty much print on anything, just because of the additives that have been made to add into plastisol. And so to kind of expand on that, Puff is really good right now, really popular right now. Give a thumbs up. I'm just kidding. If you like Puff, but yeah, so Puff is Puff is a really popular thing right now. It's been popular throughout the years, and I guess history repeats itself. It's popular right now, but in order to get that Puff, you have to add a Puff additive, which pretty much raises the ink on the garment. I've heard of people doing Puff in water-based inks, but it's a lot different and a lot different looking than with plastisol. With plastisol, you're gonna get like that big puff. And usually, when you go to stores and you see that big puff, that's what you're gonna get it from plastisol inks. And so from that, you can get more of like soft hand feel. A lot of people were kind of moving towards like they wanted like that vintage, like crack, the ink falling off the shirt. You can definitely do that with additives they have for plastisol. And then not to mention the 4-color CMYK process and the simulator process, which we'll kind of get into here in a couple minutes. But it's the most versatile, and it's going to be like the easiest, most cost effective to be able to print on your t-shirt. So it all depends on what you're looking for, as well as the second section I want to get into. If you're going for more of like the streetwear type feel, the streetwear look, definitely want to encourage you go with plastisol, because that's just going to be the best thing, and also the most cost effective, because when you start getting into like the garment dyed oversized t-shirts, that's already raising your cost up. And so Plastisol is going to not only look better on those type of garments, but it's also going to be better for your pocket as well. If you're going for more like the retail fit, like storefront type thing, you can definitely still go with water-based. I'm sorry, with Plastisol, but water-based will probably be your best bet. And then discharging, again, like I said, it's going to go more if you're looking for that high-end premium stuff. Now, discharge and water-based can still be printed on all of the blanks that we've already talked about or that Joe covered. But again, the water-based and the discharge is definitely going to have more of a higher premium price, just because of how much work it takes to be able to get that print and for it to look good. So yeah, now to kind of focus a little bit off of the inks but more on the printing side, I kind of want to talk more again like about the Plastisol. So I mentioned about CMYK and simulated process. So whenever you definitely designing a t-shirt and you want to put more of like a realistic photo on there, there's two ways you can go about it, and that's either through the CMYK 4-color process or through the simulated printing process. The difference between that is that with CMYK, it's just like your normal paper printer. It uses cyan, yellow, magenta, and black to create all of the colors. And so typically that's what's the same thing on press. So what we do is we use those same colors to be able to get a multitude of colors. The only thing with CMYK is that it really only works on white t-shirts. So if you're trying to get something like a realistic photo or something that has like a ton of, I'm talking about 8, 9, 10, 15 colors, you definitely want to go with CMYK. Ask your printer to go with CMYK because that's going to be the best thing for your pocket. However, there are some instances where you can use that on black or dark color shirts, although we don't recommend it just because it's already an added factor in the difficulty of trying to do CMYK. Here at our shop, to be honest, we're still figuring out CMYK. We've had some good instances, but we're still perfecting it, and it's been about like 2 years of us really perfecting this. So that's kind of to give you an idea of what that means. And so here's a t-shirt. We didn't print this. Some friends that we have or that we met printed this, but this is kind of to give you like an idea of on a black shirt. And so it's really cool. You can kind of see that. You mostly see purple and like a blue, but you will, if you like here, I don't know if we can zoom in or not, but. And so this is going to be like the CMYK process. Like I said, it's a lot of colors in there, but it's going to be the easiest way. And then I don't have a sample of simulated process, but simulated process is going to be more, it's going to be more accurate in the picture that you're going to try to get. And so that's going to involve you kind of dishing out some money, because with that, it's going to be every single color that's on your t-shirt. So if you've seen like Harley Davidson t-shirts or like those big Wolf thrift store t-shirts, all of those are simulated process, and that means like there's a screen for each color. So that can get a little pricey, but if you don't mind the price tag, then definitely want to go with simulated process. But yeah, so there's a lot more that we could say. Don't have the time today, but I just kind of want to open it up for any questions. If anybody has any questions.
Christian has a question.
Christian?
What if you don't know what ink to go with? Do y'all help with that process?
Oh, definitely. It's as simple as just asking us, hey, what do you guys recommend? And then based on what your print looks like or your design, we can definitely kind of recommend that, but most of the time it's going to be Plastisol. So the next person that is going to talk to you guys is my wife, Gloria, which she's going to get into pricing. So no further ado, my lovely wife, Gloria.
Sup guys, I hope that you guys are getting some great information. I know it's always good, to have refreshers even if you have heard this information before. So yeah, let's get started. One of my main roles here at 612 Printing is to run the company's finances. So I have a presentation for you guys. So at the end, I have a summary of all of it. So that would be the best one, the last slide to take a screenshot of. But feel free if you want to take a screenshot of, all of it as well. So I think we're getting that up. So just take a little second.
Give us a second.
Just a second.
Technical difficulties.
Awesome. Yeah, guys, I personally love working on finances. It's just been, I think, just a natural gift since I was young, to be honest. So, it just comes naturally to me, and I know that's not the case for everybody. So I hope to, shed a little bit of light for you guys to be able to help you make the best decisions, whether it be for your brand, whether it be for your church, or whether it even help with, giving your clients, some insight as well. So if we could start at the beginning. Okay, cool. So finances. All right, let's start on the first one. So when I am looking at a project, and what, this is kind of my flow of how I would look at a project is first priorities, right? So priorities, and if you go to the next slide, we're looking at fit and quality or budget, right? So, most of the time we hear like, oh, quality versus quantity, right? But most of the time when we've had clients come in, they're like, it's either budget, they're budget conscious, or they're like, hey, I want that boxy fit. Hey, I want that quality. I want it to feel like butter on my skin, like whether it be a hoodie or a shirt or anything like that. So I would say, start there. What is your priority? Whether it be for your church, again, whether it be for your client, what is their priority? Is it going to be that fit and quality? And as you see on the presentation, fit and quality is going to make you start at a higher price point because it is thicker material. There's more labor that went into that blank. Then that price is going to start at a higher price, right? And then if we're looking at budget, then you're starting at a lower price. Now, I like to think of this example of looking at a ladder. Let's say there's 10 rings, and so we're starting at ring 5, if we're going for fit and quality, and then these other determining factors will, build the price from there. Or budget, we're starting on ring 2, so that would be my first go-to. What are we looking at, and then the next determining factor that's going to help drive the price up or drive the price down is going to be quantity. Now, I have an example on this next slide that I kind of just want to show you. This is a project that we did for a client not too long ago, and they were printing on hoodies, right? So we're looking at the first part. We're looking at, they had a quantity of 145 and they were doing 2 colors. You can kind of see the price there is $21.63, right? And then on the flip side, this wasn't their project, but I wanted to show what the pricing difference would look like if they were just to do our bare minimum, right? Because each print shop is going to vary on how much they require as their minimum. But for here at 612 Printing, we require 24. So you can kind of see the difference is $4.73. It's not breaking the bank, I would say, too much. So it's not too bad, of a price there. But if you look at the bottom part, now we're jumping up to 4 colors, right? So the price per now is $23.37. So a little bit of a price increase from the 2 colors to the 4 colors. And then now versus the 24. Now this is where it starts to get a little bit higher in price, right? You kind of see when they jumped up to the 4 colors versus the 145 quantity, their price is $33.76. Again, these prices are based off of our pricing. I can't speak for every print shop out there, but for us, there's a major difference because the main reason why there's going to be differences, again, like John kind of explained, we have to set up a screen for each color. So there's more labor involved in creating that screen, burning that screen, using more chemicals and using more inks and things like that. So a lot more labor that goes into that. So then that labor can be spread out greater if there's a greater quantity. So that will ultimately drive your price down. If you see on the next slide, lower quantities are going to drive the price up, and higher quantities are going to help you drive the price down, right? So that's a little bit on quantities. Now we're going into design, right? This is the last driving factor of your pricing, right? So I think this is like pretty self-explanatory on as far as like when you have multiple colors, you're going to see the price drive up, right? And then if you have like a single color, then you're going to see the price go down, right? So this is where I think as creatives, as designers, is where you can get like creative, so if you kind of go to, let's see, next one. Yeah, there we go. This was a design by someone, and of course, doves have been pretty popular here in the last year, I would say maybe 2 years. You can either go for a full colored dove where it has like a colored beak, colored feet, and different colors there. So sometimes we see like 3 or 4 colors, but this one actually, it's a great design. I love what they did with it, because what they did, they printed this dove on a black shirt. So then this brought this dove to just 1 color. And then if you see on the next slide, this is how they were able to actually accomplish it, was using it halftones, and as creatives, as designers, this is a tool that I feel has been underutilized. We don't get a lot of projects that, use halftones, but this is a great tool to help bring more creativity without breaking your client's bank, without breaking your bank, and putting, just more creativity into your design. So again, doing techniques like this, using those halftones, will definitely help you drive the price down, because it's driving the colors from 3 to 4 to now 1. And now if we were to print the same image on a light colored garment, it would change it from a 1 color to a 2 color, because then we would have to put a white base and then we would put the black on it. So, that does change the price too as well. So just looking at printing on light garments versus dark garments, typically on printing on dark garments, you are going to see a higher price, just because I like to say, like, if you're painting a room, this is, you have to put a primer first to kind of block out those dark colored fibers, and then you can lay those light colors on. So the same concept with screen printing. If I want to print on a black shirt, I have to put an underbase and then I have to put a light color on that. So then as a screen printing shop, we're gonna count that underbase as a color as well. So those are gonna be 2 colors. So just a quick tidbit on that. Just going into quick tips, on how you can save some money and just some ideas. Use the same design for hoodies, shirts to be able to provide variety, right? So the great thing about that is, and I cannot speak for every screen printing shop, but I can speak for here. Basically, if you're doing the same design for a shirt and hoodie, we're gonna use those same screens for the shirt as well as the hoodie. So then you're saving money as we don't have to make more screens, and then you're able to provide more for your clients as far as, again, variety. So that's one way to drive down cost and also be able to give variety. Next tip is inquire with your print shop about new garments, guys. This is I feel like the biggest tip, because there's constantly new garments coming out, and at least for here, I'm always researching, okay, what's coming out. All right, great. Hanes is coming out with a beefy tee, but a streetwear one. Bella Canvas even is coming out with a streetwear one where it's a little bit thicker and it has more of a boxy fit. I was like, whoa, dude, Bella Canvas did that great, that's a great option for some of our clients who want that soft Bella feel but don't want the retail fit. So I would just encourage you guys, ask your print shops, hey, what's new out there? Because there definitely are new garments always coming out, right? So let's see, next one. Each shop has a unique pricing model. Guys, when we first started in the print shop world, I was trying to figure out pricing, calling all around. I'm like, what does a one color job look like on, let's say Gildan 5000, and there's such a huge array of pricing, because the pricing is based off of their overhead, based off of their labor, based off of what type of inks they use, chemicals, and all those good things. So just to let you know, if you're calling around print shops, it's going to look different based off of what they have to cover for their costs and expenses. Lastly, embrace your starting point. This is a great one. If you're able to actually to afford Los Angeles apparels and Shaka wares, then go for it. Start there. But if your starting point is maybe, hey, I don't have that type of capital quite yet, but I can afford something more budget friendly, guys, we got great options for you that are not Gildan, that, as Joe said, are not going to break apart with one wash. We have great brands like American Apparel. It's kind of going to be still in the budget friendly, going to have a little bit of a looser fit, and going to be a higher quality. So guys, we have all type of different options for you. And yeah, so I think that's basically it. The next slide is basically what I talked about, just gives it a quick summary. And now we are gonna have Josiah. I'm gonna introduce him. He is going over some design tidbits and timelines. Josiah.
What's up, everybody? I'm Josiah. So, I am Josiah Myers. I work on a lot of social media content here, but at the same time, I also do separating artwork and just getting artwork ready for screen printing. So there's a few things that I want to help you guys kind of understand about screen printing and about design and about designing for screen printing. So there's a big difference between a t-shirt designer and a graphic designer, just what people would call a designer. So having the skill to be a t-shirt designer is actually something that's very unique. And actually, if you are a t-shirt designer, you might be able to promote yourself in a certain way that a graphic designer can't, because you, to design, have a lot more limitations than just a graphic designer. And this goes kind of for all types of t-shirt printing. So let's say Gloria was showing right now the halftones, and how that's how you get any type of shading. John was talking about the CMYK simulation process. That is all using those halftones, bigger halftones and smaller halftones, to create shading. So certain things that a t-shirt designer needs to be aware of is what kind of garment you're printing on. So this is going to save, again, if you're a t-shirt designer, you have to look out for whoever you're designing for, rather that be for somebody who paid you, or if you're designing for yourself. So if you're a brand owner, you want to learn how to save yourself money, but also how to get an awesome looking design on a shirt. And if you don't know the tools that you need or the limitations that you have, you're going to end up wasting a lot of time and possibly money. So like I said, if you send us a design and let's say you did a super creative design like the one John showed, that's a 20 color design between all the different shades and tones, right? And let's just say you didn't really know how to separate that, or you didn't know how to use halftones. And you weren't aware that, that's actually going to be, well, it looks like it's a 20 color design, but that was just a 4 color design. Obviously, he was saying we use that in the CMYK process, but it can get up to whatever your screen printer can per se print. So here, the max amount of colors we can actually print would be 6 screens, correct? 6 screens. So that's as many colors as you can get. Let's say if you want to use the simulation process, which is kind of just not really using halftones. You can use halftones in that too, but that's a really expensive project. So like if you're designing for somebody and you send that design to the client and say, hey, this is the finished artwork, and they send it to us, and they're like, man, this is a 4-color job and that's really expensive. You know what I mean? You have to go back and redesign that artwork for them. So that's kind of something that you have as a graphic designer doesn't have to worry about, because they're just gonna post it on, like let's say they're creating a flyer for Instagram, they just post it on Instagram, they're good. You know what I'm saying? But that same design, trying to print that on a shirt is obviously way more expensive. And kind of like a ministry point I kind of wanted to bring in, because I think this is really important for designers, is that like whenever I'm designing or whenever I'm creating content, just in general, if you're a creator, I ask God not to perfect my craft, because the perfection of our craft ultimately comes up to the work that we want to put in. But I ask God to purify my craft, because you want your design, you want your video, you want it to be purified so that it can actually have impact on the whoever's wearing the shirt. That design you created, it has impact. So you want whatever you do to be pure and purified, so that ultimately your work is good work. So that's just one quick ministry point. And now I want to bring in this I was holding a white piece of paper for like 20 minutes, but yeah. So imagine this as your artwork, as your artboard. So this is where I'm going to create my actual design. So let's say I am it doesn't matter whatever you're designing in, whether it be Canva, Illustrator, Photoshop. I know there's Procreate. There's a lot of different things you can design in, but in each one of those, you have to pick the dimensions of your artboard. So this would ultimately be the size of the screen. Our max size, right? So this is how big you can print here at 612. That is 17.5 inches tall, and then you have 15 inches wide, right? So I encourage you, go with whoever you're printing with, whether it be us or whether it be another screen printer. Ask them what their max size is. Look at what that is on a shirt, because in the front, obviously, let's say we can always resize stuff, but a lot of times you want to actually see what it's going to look like, how long it's going to look like or how big it's going to look on the shirt. So like, let's say this is your artboard. You want to create your artboard to the max size so you can utilize all the space. Again, this is tips for a t-shirt designer, right? Graphic designer, they're going to work in a 5x5 inch or whatever it be, 1080 pixel, whatever it may be, because that's what's normal for posting on Instagram. But if you try to take that same kind of thinking into t-shirt design, imagine if I kind of made this into a square box, right? Designed on this box right here, and then I want this to be for my back design. Right, you're wasting pretty much almost a third of space, and that really is what makes a design look awesome. Everybody wants an oversized look, but if your artboard, let's say you finished your design and you use this whole artboard, right, and then you realize, dang, I could have used way more space. You're gonna have to either go back, add elements, or go back and recreate your design to really utilize the whole artboard. So that's more for the back, and then also you can't, like, let's say you made a design in an artboard like this, right? And you made a real awesome big design. You're like, man, that's gonna look awesome, like huge on the back. Well, we can't print, like, imagine this is our screen. We can't turn our screen sideways and go 17.5 inches this way. And that might actually end up looking a lot smaller than what you thought in your head. So that's just something, whenever you're creating your designs, things to be aware of. So there, again, thinking about how many colors is in your design, if thinking about yourself, thinking about who you're creating for. If you're just a graphic designer and you want to get more into t-shirt designing, that's something to really think about. What you're printing on, again, if you create a design and it has a lot of vibrant colors, think about what you're printing on, think about what color you're printing on. So that was a lot of information. Again, this is kind of what I shared is just to piggyback off of what they shared, pricing, garments, but now that this is just the design aspect of it. So hope that was informational. I feel like there's a lot of things. If you guys want some, I actually have a halftone converter that I could send to anybody through email that you can take your design and halftone it. You could send it right to us. I could send that to you. It's a quick plugin that you can use in Photoshop or Illustrator that is super helpful if you guys want that, if you're wanting to do more t-shirt design. And you can use halftones. This is last thing. Halftones can be any color, you know what I'm saying? So if you don't want to do the CMYK process, but you want a halftone design with shades here, like a face, or there's a lot of people who have sent designs like that. It doesn't have to be your whole design. You can still have your words, boom, looking nice, and then like a picture that's halftone with a lot of nice shades. That's a really cool something you can do. And if you have this if you have a halftone converter, or if you learn how to use halftones in Photoshop, that's something that's really will make your design stand out. So now introducing our last speaker, which is Alex Garcia. He is second to last speaker, because we have one more little ministry mindset, but Second to last speaker is going to be Alex Garcia, and he's going to be talking about Trends 2025. So I'm introducing him.
All right, we are in the last stages of it, guys. Again, hopefully you're getting lots of good info. This is a one of one. Like, this has never been done before. Just want to give an awesome shout out and just honor the owners here at 612 for putting this together and just taking on this sweet little adventure. And so my topic is trends for 2024, 2025, really. And there's a lot of good things happening, but I wanted to just honestly just focus in on what helps you guys just kind of kill it in 2025, just do really well. I think in the chat we have a lot of people who are designers. If there's anybody who is a member of like a church or anything like that, definitely let us know. But I'm just gonna aim at a lot of the designers that we have on the chat and just gonna speak to what some of the people you'll be working with and the designs that you'll be kind of selecting from in 2025. We'd love to hear from you guys, honestly, also in future conversations that we have, just kind of what you're seeing and then what molds how you design. But for those of you that are here, here's what I wanted to just kind of start off with, and that is this. If you want to stay ahead, the best way to stay ahead is to create. The best way to stay on trend is to recreate. And so I just wanted to encourage some of you guys out there to know where you're at, know where your brand is at, know where your design levels are at, and the people that you're designing for. There's some people that you're designing for, and their brand is strong enough to where they don't really need to emulate or copy as much, where they really need to start taking some risks and just create. That's kind of what we're doing here today, honestly. We're just taking some risks and creating something that hasn't been done before. But also you have people that you design for that you want to go ahead and recreate what's happening, what's popular. And as far as that's concerned, I wanted to give you 3 things that you should consider when you're creating things that are on trend for those people, for those churches, for those artists that you create for. The main thing, one of the main things that we can look at is location. Where is this person at? Where is the area of the country or of the world that this person is at? That plays a role in the sales that they will see, the requests, the ask, if you will, of what you're designing. Where are they at? If you're designing for somebody, in the south of Texas, there is a certain ask there, as opposed to if you're designing for someone that's in New York or Seattle. There's just a different ask based on the location. So take note of the location of the person you're designing for. It's going to give you a huge leg up on what's going to be there and what's on trend there as well, right? So another piece that you need to consider for staying on trend with these specific people you're designing for is the demographic. Who are they designing for? Are they designing for a church? And if so, how big is the church? And what is the demographic of the church? What percent is what ethnicity? That plays a big role as well, because just because something is on trend, again, in a bigger city, doesn't mean that it's going to be a trend in the smaller cities or even smaller to medium-sized churches. I know that a lot of you guys design for churches, and so that's kind of why I mentioned that. Not all churches are mega churches of 2,000 and up. The majority of the churches in America are still 500 people or less, and these churches, again, they want to stay on trend. They want to stay doing things that are fun and creative for the youth, for the young adults. But there's something that hits right where they're at, and so know their demographic, know their size, and then lastly, what are the pop culture references for this area, for this church where you're designing at? That's going to help you stay on trend. You don't want to lean towards, let's say, an anime heavy design or influence design if a lot of the pop culture references are sports related or 80s movies related. You want to know, ask the right questions from your clients to know, what are the pop culture references that this area draws from. Again, that's when you're designing to be on trend for where this place is at. Don't be on trend for just what kind of works globally, but take note of where this location is at and what's kind of what's the ask in that area. So after I mentioned that, and now you guys know kind of like how to, I guess, grab the heart of who you're designing for. I just want to give you some general things that you'll be seeing, even if they ask you for suggestions. If somebody starts to ask you like, well, like, what do you suggest? What kind of garments should we order? Should we go for? Joe already gave us a lot of great info regarding garments, but I did want to kind of piggyback on that with some things that we saw at Impressions 24, which is this big conference regarding just the different factories and what are the asks for the people who cut and make all these blanks. And so some things that we're definitely going to continue to see, which you've probably already noticed, is just an increase in the ask for crew necks. Hoodies are still going to be around. Definitely keep an eye out for especially the big drop shoulder hoodies. Look out for those, and you'll be continuing to get an ask for those. But crew necks for sure are coming in really, really strong, especially the solid color hoodies, simple designs on them, just kind of like what we did here. That's going to be really, really popular. So get creative with all of that. Heavyweight everything is what we're continuing to hear as far as t-shirts. What we heard at, again, Impressions 24 was honestly like minimum weight, and I know Joe talked about like the weight of the garments. 5.5 ounces and above was kind of like what people were saying is going to be something that you're going to hear as far as like very common language. It's like just heavyweight t-shirts. That's just going to continue to be a thing. Wide leg pants, wide leg sweats. I know that we still have the sweatsuits, you know, the combo with the hoodie and the sweatsuits, and the sweats still kind of have like the tight cord at the bottom, but you're definitely going to see just wide leg on everything. So keep a lookout for that. And then just kind of as an additional thing that you can look out for, again, just bold colors. You've seen a lot of orange this year. Continue to look for that into 2025. Continue to look for just different big overall kind of print designs. And I got a couple of shirts that I wanted to share with you guys as just some things that you can, that people can, they can expect that we can do them here at 612, but just kind of like overall just big print kind of on the back. But then you see these details on the corners, and they're kind of all over the shirt. This was for a young adults here in Texas. Again, big, bold, but simple is just going to be a continued thing. This was great. This was for a live recording for DBU, and it's just, again, a really big, this is an example of like how wide we can go. But again, it's clean, it's simple, it's on a good quality Shaka shirt, so love that. And then again, here's a great example of knowing who you're printing for and following the trends correctly. So this is for a youth, like Josiah was saying, using halftones. So this is for a youth group, super clean, really nice, staying on trend, staying with what works for them, and then also staying with the color palette that matches kind of like what they're asking for. And so, yeah, just wanted to keep that in mind when you're designing for folks and when you're looking to do things. But again, staying on trend really is just looking at the things that work and recreating them according to the customer and where they're at, their location, their demographic, and as well as their pop culture references. And so just wanted to leave those things there for you guys. If you have any other questions, I'd love to answer some questions or some things that you want to know more. It's the one that John showed, but on the back, it's a great way that you can see to get creative.
It's not tape.
Yeah, it looks like packing tape, but it's not. And so
That's actually two screens, same color, and like the highlights are just printed over the first.
Yeah.
The
So,
first screen.
you know, again, as you guys are designing out there, there's a lot of fun things that you can do with what's popular. But at the same time, the best thing that you can do, especially for some of these smaller brands, smaller churches, is to recreate what works for them, make them cool, make them popular where they're at, not just because it's cool in the bigger cities. Final topic, our favorite topic, and for that, it's an honor for me to bring up two of the best in the biz, Joe and John. Come on, welcome them.
We want to talk about really just a ministry mindset, guys. Keeping the main man, the main thing. We've had a lot of fun talking about every other previous topic, but this topic here is really the cornerstone of why we exist here at 612. I know it's the cornerstone for many of you guys, and you've been through seasons where you've asked the Lord for what you're doing right now, and whether you're a brand owner or whether you're a graphic designer, there's been a prayer life, a being in the secret place with Him to say, well, Lord, what does that look like? And for us, we just want to encourage you simply by saying, just continue to keep Him in the center of everything. Stay humble before Him. Give Him your best ideas, your worst ideas. He delights in that. He delights in working from a place of His finished work, of resting with Him, of being just being a servant to all, right? And that's something that has been a pillar for us here at 612, is that we would just serve well. We would serve Him well. We would serve others well. And from that place of serving, we get to do things that are special, that advance the kingdom of God, that can come in the context of a t-shirt, can come in the context of an event like this, SPK 2024. I think that for many of us that are creatives in the kingdom, don't limit yourself. Don't put a glass ceiling above you to say, this is what I can do. Let God surprise you. Let Him partner with you, and just go to Him and say, Lord, like, here's all I have in my hands. What can you do with it, Lord? I want to honor you. I want to bless others. And I think that God will definitely respond with something that will just blow your socks away. He's a good Father. He's so good, and He delights to just pour out. He delights to pour out these ideas, these fresh new ideas, to cover the earth with great merch, to cover the earth with great design. And so that's a little bit of my portion of my heart, just shooting off the top of my dome. And I know John has some great words to share as well.
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback what you were saying about the creation, this can apply for anybody. Obviously, we're saved and we're Bible believing Christians. We grew up like that, and so this pertains to a lot of you that are like in church and the church community. But this could pertain to any realistic anybody. And so for us, it's God being the creator, He created all things. He created all creation. He created the moon, the stars, the earth, the sky, the cement, animals, every color on the spectrum. He created it. And so we have to remember that the same creation that He has, or the same creativity that He has, it's in us. He instilled it in us. And so, kind of what you were saying, yeah, don't limit yourself to, to just a box in your creativity. You were made to create, and obviously, I don't mean to preach, but in Genesis 1, I'm sorry, not in Genesis 1, but whenever, He gave Adam, He said, take care of the birds of the sky, everything that everything that's on the ground, and plant and, create and do all this stuff. And he gave him that mandate to create. And so it's the same thing for us. He put that inside of us. So don't limit yourself. Don't think that, you're only worth this much, because you're worth a lot more than that. And so kind of taking that aspect into what you do is just keep the main thing and what you're doing. Are you a creator? And what is the reason why you even got into creating? Was it because you just really love to make things happen for people? Or do you think that you can take somebody's idea and make it a reality? Then just keep it that way. Don't sway to the left or to the right for money or for fame or for anything that's gonna boost your morality, but keep it the main thing, going back to why did you do this? Why did you bring what was the first thing for us? For us here at 612, when we started it, we had just left our jobs. It was during COVID, and we knew that we were bred for more than just being at a desk from 9 to 5. We knew that God had called upon us, to create and to build something great, and that was kind of where we started. And it was just like, okay, well, what's the main thing we're doing this? Well, because we know we have a promise of prosperity, of being creative and of building something great. And so it's just like, okay, cool. We know that we have we had ideas of doing a clothing brand and stuff like that, and so that's kind of where we started, and we're still doing it, and we're still keeping the main thing without forsaking who we are. And so yeah, I just wanted to give that a little bit of wisdom. Whatever you're doing, just keep it the main thing. Do it all if you're in the church community, if you're serving the Lord, do it for Christ, do it for Him and for His church, and solely for that. And if you're a businessman who is on the other side, maybe you're not saved, maybe you're just just looking at this for just insight or whatever. Just keep on going, do it with all full force, and hopefully what we have said and what everybody has said will kind of help you gain that insight. But always being honest for just kind of going back to the people that, you know, like for everybody who's on here in the ministry, you know, don't forget to always be honest, even if you make mistakes. Honor those mistakes, you know, take those mistakes and make them right. We've had to, even if it costs you money, and we've done a lot of that, you know, for us. It's hurt, but you know, again, I don't know, I guess it's Holy Spirit leading me to say this, but just be honest, you know, be honest with what you do, because the people that are honest are the ones that are going to excel. Even though it may look like you're going down, you're really going up. You're not going to see it right away. But you know, just be honest and keep the main thing the main thing.
And I just want to add to John's point to say, don't waste a season just because it looks different than you thought it did. I think that God takes delight in what he places us when we lay our lives before him. And so you may not have every tool and resource that you need to create the vision, but stay strict on the vision, but flexible in the details, and just let God work it out. Every day is truly a gift, guys. And I know that sounds so cliche, but waking up, guys, making it the best day that you possibly can, putting your best foot forward, and just taking the pressure off, right? Like, I think as creatives in the kingdom, we can sometimes take ourselves too serious rather than being like children before the Lord, to say, Lord, where are you taking my hand to today? And I think that's something that we can continue just to like meditate on, to continue to pray into, like, Lord, I just want to be childlike with you, Lord, and let that apply to your creativity. And like John was saying, you know, having honesty, integrity is so important as a kingdom creative, as a business owner, because it translates into honoring him with your decisions. It translates to honoring him with your finances, with every action that you take. It honors him when you work in integrity, purity, and of course humility. So just, amen. Like, thank you guys again for joining us and for giving us your time of the day. We really want to just honor you for sticking this out with us. It's our first one, like we've said, but we again are here to create community. We're again here to just steward what the Lord is doing here on the earth through creativity, through merch, through design, through every canvas that we can apply paint to, right? Like, we want to do that with excellence. And so again, we love you guys. In the chat, we'll drop our email there. It's hello@612creating or 612 printing. Let me start that again. It's hello@612printing.com. Feel free to shoot us an email. We'd love to connect with you, maybe even answer any questions that you have outside of what we've talked about today, or we can go in depth on what we've talked about today. So again, we love you guys. Take care.